Okay, this is week 7 of our pathways to university, education, training, and employment. So until now, we covered university, and we've talked about all different pathways that you have to higher education. We also talked about training and different kind of vocational training and vocational education options that you have here in the UK. The third topic, which we started a week ago, was about employment and how you can find out more about job market here in the UK, different options that you have if you want to enter a specific career here in the UK. And today, I'm going to more explain about the application process. So how to find jobs and how to apply for jobs. If you remember from last session, we started talking about National Career Service. And as I suggested, National Career Service is one of the best resources, one of the best data sets, and one of the best tools that we have here in the UK when it comes to find information about jobs, about courses, about skills, about trainings, um, and anything employment related. So I added a link here to National Career Service. So if you, when you have the slides, if you click on this link, you will find it will take you to National Career Service website. But the website itself, later I'm going to show you on the actual website, but the website itself, it has 3 main parts. So the first part is about assessing your skills. So it's for you to understand what kind of skills do you have, employability skills. Later, I'll be explaining the main employability skills that you need to have. The second part, the second main part of the website is exploring career profiles. So if you remember from last session, I showed you how to find more information about each career, each specific career that you are interested in. If you remember last time we tried, I think we tried biomedical science, we tried cybersecurity as well. So you can just go to the website, you can search for that job, and then it shows you different options, different pathways that you have, whether it's university, whether it's college, whether it's uh, finding a job or working by experience or apprenticeship or um, any other vocational training. So you will find all the information about that job and that career through Explore Career part of the National Career Service. And the third part was look for courses. So again, if you're as part of your career planning, if you decide that I need to do a training to become a hairdresser, or I need to do a training to become an accountant, okay? So if you decide to do any kind of training, there is a link on National Career Service. If you click on look for courses, it will take you to learning and training opportunities, and you can filter it based on the based on your postcode. So you can find courses nearby where you live or in the area that you live. Again, later, we already tried exploring careers, look for courses, but later I show you the skills assessment, which is an important part because most of the time you need to be aware about the main employability skills, and you need to write about your employability skills in your application. So it's very important to understand what are the employability skills here in the UK job market, what are your skills and which of those skills do you have, and it's very important to write about them in your application because most of the time students coming to me saying that, oh, I keep sending applications, but no success. I don't get any interview. I don't get any job offer. And then when I read their application, it's not written based on the UK job market. So there is no mention of the employability skills. Those are important for employers here in this country. Again, the second part of the National Career Service, which is I'm going to show you later on the website, is general career advice. So there are three main parts on the general career advice. The first part, it helps you to make career choices. If you are new to this country, if you are still thinking of, oh, what is the best career, or what is the best uh, career pathway for me, should I become a nurse, or should I become a teacher, or should I become an engineer? That career choice, it helps you. It's like some multiple choice tests. So you can go through those tests. It takes you 10-15 minutes probably, and it shows you what kind of skills do you have and what type of career could be better for you based on the skills that you have. The second part under career advice is getting a job, and that part, it helps you to um, find out more about the recruitment process here in the UK, because again, later in the next slides, I'm going to show you the general recruitment process. So in many countries, especially the countries that we come from, the recruitment process is different. But here in the UK, almost for 90-95% of the jobs, whether you're applying to become, I'm not sure, a teacher assistant, very entry level jobs, or you want to become like a become just like a doctor in NHS or nurse in NHS or university professor, the application process is quite similar. And then the third part is mainly once you are in a job, so you want to make progress. The third part, progressing your career, is mainly for people who are in a career and they want to improve their opportunities, applying for better jobs, for higher salary, and so on. So it shows you different ways, different tactics that you can have to improve your uh, skills and learn new skills. So I suggest in your time, you go through different parts of the National Career Service. It's very helpful in terms of career planning, because if you remember from, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, I started to talk about planning. If you don't have a plan, especially because you are new to this country, you're not very familiar with the system, and you need to do different things in kind of in the same time. Okay, so it's not like a school. You're not school children to do like year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, and then going to university, going to college. So at the same time, you need to learn language, you need to go for GCSEs, for A levels, you have family commitments, you have probably, some of you may have children, you have part-time jobs, so you need to do more than a normal person during a particular period of time. So the only way that you can make it is through having a career plan. And National Career Service is the best way to help you plan for your future career if you need to go through education, training, and so on and so forth. So career planning, it helps you to manage your time, manage your energy, manage your efforts, and it saves you time in the sense that you know where you are going, and it prevents you from trying and failing and wasting your time. It helps you to set clear goals, because if you say, oh, I want to have a job, it's not clear. Or even if you say, I want to become a teacher, it's the goal is clear, but the pathway to become a teacher is not clear. So having career plan, it helps you to understand your career goals. in a clear way. So you know that I want to start, if your final goal is to become a teacher, you know that your career goal for short time is to become a teacher assistant in 1 year with minimum salary of, I'm not sure, £12 per hour or £18,000 per year. So it help, you need to, you set those goals, you put them on the paper, and it makes it clear for you in terms of where you want to be in 1 year. When you write your career plan, and when you get help from National Career Service and career advisor, then you know what kind of skills you need to have. For instance, again, becoming a teacher, you will learn from National Career Service or from any other career advisor. When you're writing your career plan, you will know that, okay, to become a teacher assistant, I need at least level 2 English. So if you don't have level 2, then you know that I need to go to a college, I need to register for an ESOL course in order to have level 2 in 6 months. Okay. Or if you need to have, I'm not sure, a foundation degree or access course, you know that you need to go to a college, register for an access course, and then you have your access course next year by September, access course degree. It helps you to start thinking about the different employability skills that you need. Again, later, I'll be talking about 9 important skills here in the UK. And you will see almost all of those skills or many of those skills in every single job advert that you find. Okay. So if you start reading job adverts online or offline in newspapers or uh, wherever, you will see many skills are similar regardless of the job. So sometimes the job is working in a nursery or the job is working in university, but the skills that they need, the basic skills, basic employability skills are similar. So it's important for you to go through National Career Service, start reading job adverts, understanding skills so that you can write good job applications. It reduces your, when you have plan, when you have a written plan, okay? I told you a plan is not a plan before going on paper. As long as it's in your head, that's not a plan, to be honest. That's just some ideas or wishes or uh, these kind of things. But the moment that you start writing them down, it starts becoming a plan. And then having that plan, it reduces the stress, because every morning you don't wake up by thinking that, oh, what should I do today? You know that, okay, for this year, I'm focused on my language. For this year, I'm focused on um, doing GCSEs. For this year, I'm focused on writing a job application. For this month, I'm going to apply for a sanctuary scholarship. So when it's on paper, you know, every morning, you know what you need to do. Every evening, you know what you need to do tomorrow. So it reduces your stress and sense of confusion, and it makes it easier to see progress, because most of the students that I work with, I can see they make progress every week, every month. They are better than previous month, but they themselves, they cannot see that progress because they don't have that written steps. If you write on paper that I need to have my CV by next month, when you have your CV, you go back to your plan and you see, oh, I made this progress because I have my CV ready. If you write on paper that in 6 months time, I need to have my ESOL level 2, when you have it, you go back to your plan and you can see that progress. But without that plan, you make progress, but it's very difficult to see, to understand that progress from where you were 6 months ago to where you are today. I'm sure that every single one of you are in a better position than 7 weeks ago that we started the course, because now you know your university options, college options, BTech options, apprenticeship options. you know many other organizations that can help you. Probably some of you started joining the newsletters. You started to read more about job opportunities. Some of you started working with National Career Service. So all of these things are progress which needs to be celebrated and appreciated. But if you don't write them down, it's difficult to understand and see them. Okay, so these are the benefits of a career plan. And you have that template. And I suggest start just writing down some notes. As I said, language is not important. Write it in whatever language that you're happy, because it's your own thing, it's your own plan. And as I said, National Career Service, it helps you to find answer for many of these questions that you have. So it helps you to find out more about what you need to do. It helps you to find out more about the courses that you need to take, the trainings that you need to take, and it helps you to fill that form much easier. After this session, if you decide to write your or start to develop your career plan, the best step is to start listing your current skills. I'll be talking about the skills later. So list your skills and see how many of those skills you have. And you will be surprised, because most of the time you have almost all of those employability skills, but you are not aware of them, or you don't write about them in your job application. And when you don't write about them, the employers, they don't know whether you have those careers, those skills or not, and then you don't get any job offer or any interview. Set goals and actions, short term, mid term, long term, and give yourself some time frame. And again, time frame is very important. So give yourself some practical, reasonable, doable time. Language, 6 months. University, 1 year. Job, part-time job, 3 months. Or a volunteer job, 1 month. So give yourself time. You don't need to necessarily meet those time frames, but it's always good to have those time boundaries, those time pressures, because it makes you more disciplined. So have some time frame for yourself and keep checking back. So every month, go back to your plan and see the progress that you have made. If you're not making progress, why you're not making progress. And sometimes you see you are ahead of your plan. So you see that you have space to add more actions to your plan. So go back to your career template, start writing down your goals, your skills, and it prepares you for uh, your job application process. Any question for those of you who are here? Okay, so let's move
No,
on.
thank you.
Thank you. Let's move on to, this is an overview of the job application process here in the UK. Okay, so as I said earlier, regardless of the job, whether you are applying for very entry-level jobs or you are applying for top-level jobs, the application process is more or less the same. So in some, like for higher level jobs, if you are applying to become CEO of a large company, you have this and some extra. But almost in every single job, you have all of these options, all of these steps to take. So first of all, you need to find that job, the job that you want to apply for, and I'll show you the best places that you can search for jobs. And then when you have 1, 2, 3, 4, how many options or how many choices to apply for, so you need to go through the application process. And most of the time you need to fill some application forms online, attaching some personal documents, mainly your CV and your statement. You'll send it online to the employer. They review your application, and it's very important to understand that during the first step, the only thing that they can see from you is that piece of paper. And that piece of paper cannot speak how good you are. You need to write everything on that piece of paper. Okay, you may be the best website developer, you may be the best nurse in the world, but if you don't show it on that piece of paper, it's very difficult to find a job. And I sometimes have students coming to me saying that, oh, I applied for this job, but they offered the job to a friend of mine, and I'm very better off my friend, but I couldn't get the job. So the problem is, from that piece of paper, they cannot see how better you are from your friend. They just can read, and if you don't write about yourself, if you don't present yourself good, if you don't sell your skills to them, it's very difficult to find a job. That's why it's important to understand the application process. It's very important to understand and be able to write a good CV, and specifically, and more importantly, the statement that you write for your job. And then there is a interview panel that they sort of read. If they have like 10 job applications, they read those papers, and then they invite 3, 4, 2 best applicants to the job interview. You go to job interview, they ask you some questions to find out more. During that job interview, they can see you, okay? So if you are a good person, if you are a very skilled professional, passing interview will be easier for you than passing the written application. I see many people having problem with getting interview, but when they go to interview, they are quite successful. That's because in written application, in the first stage, they see paper. You are not there, so there is no chance for you to explain your skills, your competencies, your aspirations, your goals, and so on. But when you go to interview, and if you are prepared, you pass the interview, they offer you the job, and then there will be some checks in terms of like safeguarding, DBS, or these kind of things, and then you start working. So these are the main steps when you're applying for jobs. If I want to say the most important ones, the first one is number 1, the written application. The second one is number 2, being prepared for interview. But before that, the process of finding the job itself is more important, because if you don't understand the requirements of the job, it's very difficult to write a good application, and it's very difficult to prepare yourself for that interview. Any question about the application process? Is it clear what you need to do when you decide to apply for jobs?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so first step, finding employment opportunities. So here in the UK, almost, I can't say 100%, but large number of, like I can probably 90 something percent of employment opportunities, job adverts, they go online. Sometimes companies, they have like internal recruitment. Probably they don't send them online. They put it on their internal network, but 90 something percent of the job opportunities here are online. And if you're looking for jobs, online search is the best place to find job opportunities, or the vacancies to apply for. There are tens of websites which collect different job adverts. So some of them are general, some of them are specific. Like if you are looking for NHS jobs, NHS, they have their own website. If you are looking for council jobs, like in borough of, I'm not sure, Kensington, the local council, they have their own career website. So every company, every employer, every university, every college, they have their own website. But at the top of that, beside that, they share any job opportunity with these general websites. So here I have a list of 4 or 5 of the most important ones or most comprehensive ones, but there are many more. So these are not the only ones. You can search for more. But when it comes to uh, websites, these are the 5 main job search websites here in the UK, starting with Indeed, Reed, Total Jobs, CV Library, and Monster. So if when you have a slides, if you click on any of these links, it takes you to the job search website where you can start searching based on the job, based on the place, the location that you live, based on the salary, and other criteria that you can filter the results for. I'll show you later on my internet browser uh, that how those websites are similar and different. But most of the time, you will see the same uh, jobs being advertised on all of these websites, because most of those employers, they share job opportunities with all of these websites to reach out to more applicants. When you go and start and find a job, for instance, you find a job as a nursing assistant or teaching assistant in a nursery or in a hospital in your town or city, and you want to apply for that. The first thing is to start reading and understanding the job advert, because in that job advert, the employers set out what they expect from applicants. And most of the time, they set out the main employability skills that they expect from applicants. Here in the UK, these are the main employability skills. So almost in every single job advert, you will see 3, 4, 5 or more of these skills being mentioned as required. So starting with communication, I can't remember any job advert without writing good communication skills as one of the criteria. So every job, regardless of how entry and how high rank it is, they want someone who is able to communicate. And communication is not about language. So don't think that if your English is not 100%, you're not good in communication. Communication is about being able to express yourself so that people can understand you and for you to understand others. And sometimes your English is 50%, but you are very good in expressing yourself so that people understand what you need or what you want. And you are very good in understanding your manager, your boss, your co-workers. And many people in this country, they are um, not originally from here. They speak English as their second language. Their English is not like top university level, but they are very good. They are very confident in speaking language with their colleagues. They know the language of that job, and they are very good in understanding the language. And it's very important to explain it when it comes to job application. So if in the job advert, they say we are looking for someone with good communication skills, you need to write about your communication skills in the job application. If you don't write it, they think you don't have it. Okay. Sometimes you think, oh, it's very kind of basic thing to write, but no, don't think that this is basic. You need, if they say we need someone with good communication skills, you need to write about it in your application. Otherwise, you don't tick that box. The second one is about entrepreneurship and enterprise. And by enterprise and entrepreneurship, it's not about business. It's mainly about being able to solve problems. So most of the jobs, they expect people to be able to take action and step forward and take initiative. They like some workforce that when it comes to problem, they are confident in stepping forward, saying that, okay, we have this problem in a school. Don't worry, I'm here. I can help with solving that issue. And I can spend more time helping others to solve that issue. So most of the time, that problem solving, that taking initiative, that being entrepreneurial, this is something that you see on the job advert. And if it's there, you need to write about it. And I keep saying that because this is important. Everything in the job advert, you need to write something about in your application if you want to get an interview. Information technology, these days it becomes more and more important. So in almost every job every job advert, you see something about IT skills, computer, Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, mobile phones, social media. So these are being able to work with emails, sending emails, receiving emails. These are important. You see them in most of the job adverts and you need to write about them. Don't think that being able to write an email or send an email is something that everyone knows, and I don't write about it in my application. No, many people, they don't know how to work with email. So if that's part of the job requirement and you know how to do it, just write it down. Numeracy, the ability to work with numbers, it's very important for many jobs. So you need, if you have those skills and if this is part of the requirement, make sure that you write about it. If it's not there, so when I talk about these skills, you start seeing that you have many of these skills, but you never thought about. So you start saying that, oh, I'm a good communicator, I can work with IT, but my numeracy is not good. If it's not good, then I start taking a math course or a numeracy course, online, college, and however you can. And then moving forward, problem solving, resilience, being able to cope with different situations, with challenging situation, self-management, teamwork. Teamwork is in every 99% of the job applications, they see we want someone who is a good team worker, because it's very important to be able to get on with others in your workplace. So if you're a good team worker, just write it and give some example. Later, when we get to application writing, I will show you how to write about these skills, because just saying that I'm a good team worker is not enough. You need to give some examples, and I'll show you exactly how to write a good statement using these skills and being supported by examples. So start thinking about these 9 skills. Start figuring out how many of these skills do you have. I think most of you have at least 6, 7 of these skills. So the first thing, just understanding the skills that you have, and these are important for employability, for employment. And then if you don't have 1, 2, 3 more of them, you need to start building those kind of skills by training, by doing voluntary job, by studying, watching videos on YouTube or whatever. So, but to have a successful job application, you need to have these set of skills. So the higher the job, you need to be better in that skill. So if, like in numeracy, if you are applying for its customer assistant, so you need entry level, being able to work with money, with till, with calculator. But if you're applying to become like a teacher, so you need a higher level of numeracy, but you need it. Depending on the job, it could be basic, it could be like advanced level. So is it clear about skills?
Yeah.
So can you give me an example of, so which of these skills do you have or do you don't have? Can you think of any of these skills? Just give me an example.
I would say communication.
So you are a good communicator.
yes, and teamwork.
Great. So can you give me an example, Fatima?
Communication, it can be like a customer service, or I'm very good at convincing people or just talking to people in general.
Good. So can you give me
Yeah.
a specific example of one time that you were successful in convincing someone or communicating with someone? I want just a specific example of like saying that, oh, 6 months ago or yesterday, and it doesn't need to be about job. It could be about your life, with children, with parents.
I can't think of any, to be honest, at the moment. But I
That's
am
fine. Yeah.
very good. Now that you ask a question, like my mind just goes blank.
Yeah.
I'm
So
good at, for example, if I have something that I want to talk to, I'm good at explaining what is that, and I would give always a feature of that thing that I'm talking about that can convince people that it is good.
very good. So I'm glad that you mentioned that, Fatima, and thank you. And that's something that everyone here, you need to start thinking of, because that's the point that takes you from application to interview. Okay, so you need to write about specific examples. Like Fatima, she's very confident that she's a good communicator. Okay, and she's going to write on her application that I'm a good communicator. I could work as a customer assistant because I can convince people, and I'm good and comfortable in speaking with people, which is very good. But the difference between a normal application and a good application is the specific example. Okay, and that's why it's important to start thinking of the skills and start having one example for each of them. Like in case of Fatma, she can say, I'm very good in communication because go on, Fatma. Have you remembered any example?
No, I just want a question. Can you like give us an example?
Yes, I was about to give
Because you,
example.
yeah, thank you. Because when you ask me, I know myself, I'm very good with communication. But when you ask me a question, my mind just went blank. I
Yeah,
can't
I
think
give
of
you
anything.
I give you example now, and I give you more example about every of these skills later when it comes to application writing. So
Okay, thank you.
on her job application, Fatma starts writing, oh, so she's applying for a job in I'm not sure, as a nurse or as a teacher assistant, and then on the job advert it says we need someone with good communication skills. Fatma starts writing her statement saying that I'm a good candidate for this job because I'm a good communicator. I'm confident in working with others. I'm good in expressing my ideas. I'm good in understanding others, and I'm good as a in convincing people to do what I want. Okay, so this is the first paragraph that she writes, but she needs to support it with saying that, for example, I worked with Tesco for 6 months, and during that time, I was very good in handling the complaints from customers, and because of that, I was given a job promotion by my manager. Or I used to work as a volunteer in a community center in Manchester, and during that time, I was successful in dealing with challenging situation with community center users. Okay, just some concrete, specific examples: time, place, the role that you had, and what did happen during that time that you could use your communication skills. Or I used to work in, I'm not sure, in a hospital, and during that time there was a situation where I wasn't sure what to do. I called my manager, and then I communicated the problem, and then manager explained what I need to do, and I understand the situation, and as a result I successfully handled or managed that situation. So just example, it doesn't need to be like a huge story, but just some concrete example so that you can show that you understand what communication is. Is that clear, Fatima?
Yes, yes. Now I
Yeah.
understand. Thank you.
Yeah. So
Hi,
go on, Makbula.
Hi, Amir. I'm asking for if this skills is important to put it in personal statement when you're applying for undergraduate.
No, it's for job application. No, for
Only job
yes,
application.
yes. Because now we are talking about the employability skills. Okay. Because for the students for university, they don't say we want a good communicator, we want someone with problem solving. The criteria for a student are totally different. This is for job. Yeah, this is just for job applications.
Thank you.
So Fatima can write, and then the second part is about, okay, we need someone with a good teamwork skills, and Fatima says, oh, I'm a good team worker, writes it down, but then you need to explain as an example, when I was working in I'm not sure in this group, or when I was working in this job in my country, I was a member of a team including 6 other individuals, and I always had good relationship with my team workers, and because of that we were chosen as the best team in our organization. Or I had very friendly relationship with my other colleagues. Or even now, after coming to the UK, I still have good friendship, good connections with my colleagues back home, because we had a very good team relationship. So it's important to name them, to mention these skills on your application, but what makes it better is to give example. And I understand it's difficult now to give example for each of them, but I'm sure that you have more than one example for each of them when you start thinking and writing them down. They don't need to be from your job. You can show how good you are in problem solving in your life, in your personal life, like saying that, oh, I had this personal problem last year, but I managed, working with my parents or working with my husband or wife or children, we managed to solve this problem, this issue, with whatever problem that you had. So it could be from your personal life, it could be from your professional and career life.
Hi.
Go on,
I have my experience about my job
okay.
application. I said I'm good team worker because I had worked in my country as a team worker as a civil engineering, and and also in this country I work as volunteer in Green Party, doing teamwork like doing like leaflet or knocking door or canvassing. And after that, because I learned with you last year, and you said something like this, and last week I accepted my application, and this day the first time to join my job.
Okay, great. So you got a job offer. You got a job accepted.
Thank
Great.
you.
Yes, so I'm so
you.
glad. So for everyone else here, you can see a real example. Okay. So when I say you need to give example, next time I can say I'm a good teacher because I worked with Rehab and she could find a job because of so this is the kind of example that you need to give. So just saying that I'm a team worker, like Rehab said, is not enough, because everyone else will write it down on their application. But what Rahab did, she added some specific example. I worked as a leaflet person, or I worked as a volunteer with a team. It shows that you have experience. So you already worked with a team and you were successful in teamwork. And then it takes Rahab to the next step, and she had the job offer, and she, as she said, she started a job quite recently. Congratulations again, Rahab.
Thank you. Thank you
for sharing that.
Oliver, for support me and
no,
useful.
that's our
Yeah.
job. So we are glad that you made it. So again, everyone here, and if you are watching the video, start thinking these are important. If you are applying for basic jobs, or if you're applying to become like a university professor, all of these are important. Start thinking of your skills and start finding examples for each of them. When you have them, then it's very easy to apply for jobs, because the time taking part is to think about all these 9 and have examples. So you need to have 1 example for each of them at least. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing and stop recording. I give you okay, so we talked about all the skills that you need to have, important for employment, because in most of the job applications, you will see 3, 4, 5 more of these skills written on the job advert. So now you have the job that you want to apply for, you understand the skills, you are aware of the skills that you have, and you have example for each of those skills that you are going to write about. Then when it comes to job application, if you remember this one, okay, so the next part is to apply. And to apply, the first step is to, in the past, CV was very important. But these days, see, you need a CV, but CV is not that important, to be honest. The most important part is the statement. So sometimes they want you to upload your statement. Sometimes they ask some questions and you need to write your statement. You need to write your answer to those questions in that application box, which is similar to a statement. So these days, to have a good job or to get to the interview level, you need to be able to write a good application letter, a statement of purpose. It could have different names, but it's mainly a statement about who you are and why you are a good person for this job. As I said, it's called application letter, personal statement, application form, or whatever. But the content that you need to write is same. It's about you, your skills, and why, and your experiences, and why you are a good person for that job. So that's the most important part. And then CV. In some jobs they ask for CV as well. In some jobs they don't want your CV. What helps you to write a good statement is to read and understand the job advert carefully, and then writing your statement as I written here in bold, writing and tailoring and designing your statement based on that job. Okay, because if they need in the job advert, if they say communication, you need to write about communication. If they don't put communication there and you write about communication, you've wasted your time and the space. You need to read and understand what they need and then write about that. So if communication is there, write about you as having good communication. If teamwork is there, but communication is not, don't write about communication. Write about teamwork, because communication is not important for that job. Teamwork is important. So write about teamwork, problem solving. So see what is there, write about that specific skills that they need. So it's important. And the difference between a rejected application and an accepted application is accepted application is written based on the job advert. Most of the time, application forms, they start with some personal information, which is your name, age, nationality, race. Most of the times they don't ask about your nationality, race, or these kind of things. Or it's mainly about name, address, telephone, email, these kind of things. Sometimes, not for every job, but sometimes they ask about your educational background. So whether you have GCSE, A-level, depending on the job, university degree, postgraduate, undergraduate. If you have any work experience, again, volunteer, paid, it just write it down. Any kind of work experience, whether volunteer or paid, it helps. Just write it down. So these are the general questions. But the most important part, called competency-based questions, which is mainly about this. Okay, so they have some questions asking about what kind of skills and competencies that you have, and you need to explain and write based on the job advert. And together, all of these, they become your personal statement. So I'm going to show you later on my screen. Actually, I'm going to do it now. So here, one of the websites that I told you is good for finding jobs is Indeed. So you go on Indeed and you start searching for jobs. For instance, you are searching for teacher assistant. Okay, and you want it to be in London, in East London, for instance. And then you start reading different opportunities. Like at the moment, there are more than 8,000 jobs on the teacher assistant in East London area. So you decide that I want to apply for this one, early years classroom assistant with Little Jungle, which sounds like a nursery in London. It's a full-time job, 8 hours shifts, and it pays you between 23 to 27,000 pounds per year. So you click on that and you start reading, because as I said, the most important part is reading and understanding what are the requirements for the job. So job description, you start reading the job description, giving you some general ideas about what is the job about. They need a passionate, enthusiastic, and caring individual to support children from 10 months to 5 years. Then there are some information about the employer themselves, the Little Jungle, and some ideas about what you are going to do. So these are the main tasks that you are going to do, and what they offer in terms of payment, annual leave, holidays, others. And what you need. Okay, so when you are writing, and this is the important part, so when you are writing about your statement, you need to write about these. You need to write about your experience of working with children in early years. You need to write about if you have any qualification for that role or not, like if you've done any college course, or if you've done any online course, or if you have done any volunteer role in a community center. And you need a reference. Okay, and then it gives you some more information about holidays, the benefits, and based on what we said, what do you think is important from those 9 skills to write about here? Anything that you can see in terms of skills? So it's about working within a flexible and supportive team. So what kind of skills from those 9 skills could be relevant to this? Teamwork, yeah. So you need to write about when you're, so you need to read and you need to understand what they need, and then you need to write about those. So here they are talking about someone who is going to work as part of the team. So you need to write about your teamwork. The other part is about being passionate in working with children. So you need to write about how passionate and how good you are in working with children and understanding the job. Again, passion, enthusiasm, and caring individuals and working with children. So you need to write about how good you are in working with or communicating with children and working within a team and being a good team worker. Let's see. We are going for a nurse in East London. Let's see how being a nurse could be different. So again, a nurse in London, it's a relatively good job, like 35,000 a year. This is job description about the role, about you. You need again to read this and understand what they are expect from the person who is going to apply for the job, and you need to write your statement based on what they want. Some more information, and here they talk about they need a registered nurse. So if you are applying for this, you need to write in your statement that you are a registered nurse with skills and experience, and having the qualification and some other certificates, fluency in English, so excellent communication skills, as you can see. So in this one, you need to make sure that you write about your communication skills, because they need communication skills necessary for this job. Also, verbal and written English, and a strong organizational skills, which means teamwork. Okay, so when you're writing your statement, you need to write that you are a registered nurse, you have experience, you have skills, you have those qualifications. Also, you are a good communicator, you have good teamwork, organizational skills, and you are good in writing and reading and speaking English. You are fluent in English. So this is why it is important to, because some people, they have one statement and they send it to thousands of jobs and they don't get anything back. It is important to read what they want. And the most important part is this part. In every application, in every job advert, the about you or personal specification is the most important part to read and to understand and to write your job application based on that. Any question? Is it clear for you how to read and understand, and where is important?
Yes.
Okay, good. So there is another website. If you are looking for jobs in charity sector, there is a good website called Charity Jobs. And in Charity Jobs, you can find jobs. As I said, there are some general websites, but there are some specific websites for some specific sectors. Like if you are, and many of you, charity jobs could be a good option to start with. I found my first job 8 years ago or 7 years ago on charity jobs. So for instance, you are looking to work with refugees. in London. So you go and search for that, and at the moment there are these jobs within the refugee support sector. So refugee support and settlement worker in Greenwich. So let's see what they want. So you have the list, and then you decide to read more about some of them. So we see that there is a project called Greenwich Inclusion Project, and they are looking to recruit someone as a refugee support and settlement worker with 27 something per year. It's a temporary 3 years. So you have a 3 years contract and it's a full-time job. So then you start reading the advert. It says, this is the job description. So you are going to do this jobs during the day. So it's mainly working with Afghan refugees. And then they say the ideal person. So these are the most important things. So in many cases, you need to go through how to apply. And probably here they have, let's see. I'm trying to understand how to go to the website for application website. Oh, you need to send an email to this. But basically, it says the ideal candidate will be able to prioritize and have good people skills. So people skills means communication, and again, working with people means communication and teamwork, and be able to speak Dari or Pashto because the person is going to work with Afghans. If this sounds like you, please apply. And as you can see, as I said, CV is not that important these days because many jobs, they don't say don't send us CV. Like this one, it says you need to submit the application form. CV will not be accepted. Okay, so that's why writing application form is more important these days than CV. Let's see any other job in relation with refugees. Which one we can go for? Let's see. This one with refugee action. So again, you see that the job title, care coordinator, and these salary, about the organization, about the role, and these are what they want, these bullet points. Okay, so they want someone with experience of using Excel. So if you think about skills, those 9 skills, it's about IT. So when you write your application letter, you need to write about I have experience of using Excel and work with databases, recording information, managing multiple priorities. So being self-managed, if you think about those skills, spoken and written English, working in office environment, teamwork again, as you can see, as part of the team, and communication and commitment, and understanding how the UK environment works. So again, most of these bullet points, they go back to those 9 employability skills. And the important thing is you need to write about these bullet points when writing your statement. If you write just randomly, you may be a good person for this job, but in that paper, in that written application, in that online form, if you don't write about your IT skills, you don't write about your communication skills, you don't write about your teamwork skills as they want, it's very difficult to go to the next step, which is interview. Any question? So is it clear now? The main step is to find the job and then start reading and understanding the job advert. Okay, so some people just find the job and just quickly, without reading, they click on apply and then they send their application, but that application is not based on what they want in this job. So make sure that you write your statement based on what they want. And then later, I explain when you're writing about, and I explained earlier, when you're writing about your skills, you need to give example. So saying that I have experience of using Excel is good, you need to say, but to be successful, you need to add example. So for when I was a student in university, I used Excel for my student projects. Or when I was working in this company for 5 years, we used Excel to collect information and collect and save or communicate data. So make sure that you give example from your previous experiences. Any question?
Thank you, so clear.
Okay, great. So I think I'm going to stop here because I think it's too much to think about. So next week, I'm going to talk more about application writing. So now, what I would like you to do when you're when you have time between now and next week, start thinking about those skills. Okay, those 9 skills that we talked about. Start thinking which one do you have. I'm sure that you may have all of them, but for most of you, you at least have 6, 7. So start thinking what you have, what you need to learn, and for those that you have, start thinking of one example. And it could be just short, simple example of your personal or career life before. Then go to some of these web pages. Indeed, these pages that I showed you. Indeed, read Total Jobs, CV Library, and Monster, and find just one job that you are interested in applying for. You don't need to apply, just find one and start reading and understanding what they want. So it's so important, and I'm glad that Rehab mentioned earlier, it's so important to understand the job advert. Most of the time, students who complain about not being successful, that's because they didn't read and they didn't understand the job advert. So please go find just one, and as you can see, it's just one page. Just start read and understand what is important and just highlight it, just underline it, understand what is important in that job advert, what they want from a person that applying for job, and what you need to write in your application. Next week, I give you an example from a real world example from one of my students, and I show you that person's application and how it was successful because the person understood the advert and wrote the application based on that advert. I'm going to stop recording